Hello, welcome. I'm going to be teaching you some very high probability entry models. And I'm actually really excited for this video because there's going to be a lot of sauce in this video. So if you guys want, just take your notes or whatever it may be. I don't know how many people are going to watch this. But so let's just get into it. So the first thing is you need to understand that for every setup, every single setup, there are three essentials to every trade. Okay, and a lot of people don't know this, and that's why they're losing, right? So the first thing you need to understand is the when is it going to happen. Okay, when is it going to happen, right? So just because there's something that you see doesn't mean it's time for you to execute, right? It's always based on time. When is it going to happen? Okay, so second is where is it going to happen? Where is it going to happen? All right, so I'm going to try to speed through this and why. All right, easy, right? Easy. So let me just go here. So the when, that's easy. Time, when is it going to happen at the right time? But now when it comes to time is that people don't really know what time is. Time doesn't just mean London and Asia kill zones. That's not time. There are aspects to time, right? There are there are there are times when a framework is going to happen, and then there are also times when the entry will occur. Okay, so just because you see something happening doesn't mean that it's time for the trade to begin its move. Okay, so I just want you to keep that in mind as we go through this video. So now this is the first model, right? Model number one. Okay, so what's the framework? The framework for this model is the new week opening gap or a new day opening gap. Okay, when is it going to happen? Okay, I messed up. I was supposed to put Tuesday through Thursday, so this is when you're going to be looking for this model. Right? Ignore Fridays, ignore Mondays. Just focus Tuesday through Thursday, and most of the time you'll start to win more trades. So here, right, what is this? This is obviously a new week opening gap. The model can also occur on a new day opening gap. Okay, so now what's the actual model? All right, this is probably something that not a lot of people have heard. I haven't heard that many people talk about this, right? So the entry, right, is a turtle soup using standard deviations, right? So it's more of an aggressive entry, which I'm going to go and explain. And when is it going to happen? You want it to happen during when there is a volatility injection, right? Right. So where are we? New week opening gap, right? New York opens up, right? New York opens up, and the first thing that we immediately do is we go and we take out London's high, okay, on that new week opening gap, right? Well, that right there, that's the entry. That's what you're gonna be looking for, right? So how do we necessarily enter? You're gonna literally just enter. You're gonna put a limit order on the top of the London high, and then as price goes and manipulates, that would be your trigger, right? So as that's occurring, limit order, boom, right? So where you may be asking, where do you put your stop loss? Stop loss is very simple, right? Now this is where it gets a little bit complex. It may be a little bit confusing at first, but it really isn't that confusing. Okay, so what are you going to be looking for is you're going to be looking for, right, you're going to be looking for the most obvious candles, right? So in this case, this is the body of this series of candles, and then this is the high of London, right? So I put a projection from this body all the way to this high, and then you use 50% of the standard deviation. That would be your stop loss. You see that? I know it's a little bit weird, it's a little bit tricky, but you don't really need this, right? Because I'm going to show you another model. But if for those of you that want it, you want an aggressive type of entry, like this is fire. Okay, I don't know if many people will use this. You don't really need this, but it's for those of you that want to be crazy, you want to be cracked, right? And you get really aggressive entries, right? Um, that's your entry, right? So standard deviation, 50% of the standard deviation, that's your stop loss, right? Entry is literally the limit order, right? Simple. So if you got it, you got it. If you don't, it's okay. I'll just show you the next model. Okay. And here, yeah, this was like a 1 to 20 RR. From this right here is one risk to reward. This right here is a 2, and this is a 3. So here it was like a 4, a 5, a 6, a 7, an 8. And obviously you don't need to go that crazy. But bro, whenever we have trades that occur in a new week opening gap, just know that's something that is about to occur. Right? Just keep that in mind. Okay, the second model, right? And this is more of my personal model, right? This is more of like what I'm focused on, right? Right? The framework, what are we looking for? We're going to be looking for a higher time frame turtle soup or a higher time frame SMT, right? When is it going to happen, right? We're going to be looking for this during the manipulation or reversal phases of the weekly range, okay? When will manipulation happen in the weekly range, right? Tuesday and Wednesday, right? When will reversals occur during the weekly range? Thursdays and Fridays. So those are the only days that you're going to be looking for this model, okay? So here, look how simple this is, right? We come in here, we take out this very significant high, which is, I think it was a daily high. This is extremely significant. We come, boom, and this is actually an SMT. Okay, it's not just a turtle soup, it's actually an SMT, right? So now going down to the entry, that right there is the framework. That right there is the framework. That's right there the first thing we need before even thinking of taking a trade, right? But just keep in mind that just because the framework is there doesn't mean that it's time to execute, right? So now when it comes to executing, don't you remember there are three aspects to every setup. There's a when, a where, and a why. Okay, so for the entries, right, here we have a lower time frame turtle soup or SMT. That's going to be, the first thing you're going to be looking for, right, which should occur during a volatility injection, right? And then afterwards we get CISD. Okay, simple. Very simple. Look how simple this is, right? So right here we take out that daily high, and this is London's high. You see that we take out, boom, we're up here, and then afterwards we have this change of the state of delivery, right? This is the order block. This is the validation. These are the validation candles, right? And then afterwards you come in here. This is where you enter, right? Stop loss could be somewhere. I would have put my stop loss maybe somewhere around here, and boom, just drowned, went straight to the downside. So, if you enjoyed this video, just give me a like. I do think this is pretty informative. There were some gems in here. So yeah, appreciate it.